and welcome to another Create and Craft at Home with Artizan. I'm Kat and I work for Artizan International, and today we're going to be learning how to make beads out of paper. So to make your paper beads today, you will need some decorative thin paper, a ruler, a pencil, a paintbrush or glue paintbrush that you can use with your PVA glue, some masking tape, some embroidery thread or ribbon or cord, a pair of scissors, and be very careful when we use these. And you could also use some beads if you have any real beads, and also a little key ring. So the first thing we're going to do is take our decorative paper and our scissors, and what we're going to do is cut our paper portrait into long thin strips. Now the width of those strips will be the width of your bead. So I've cut one strip now from my paper, and what I'll do is just carry on, and I'll probably try and get between 8 and 10 beads per piece of paper. Okay, so I've cut out all my strips of paper, and what I'm going to do now is take my pencil, and how we make our beads is we take one strip of paper, just like this, and with the pattern facing outwards, we're going to start wrapping our paper tightly over itself around the pencil. So I'm just taking it around the pencil and wrapping it on top of each other, making sure it's nice and neat and nice and tight. So I'm just going to do this until I get to the end of the paper. Okay, so now I've finished wrapping my paper around the pencil, and I'm left with about 1 to 2 centimeters of paper left. And what I'm going to do now is take some glue, so I have some PVA glue in this little pot, and just take a little bit of glue and put it on the top of the paper there. Just a little bit more. And now what I'm going to do is just carry on wrapping that and stick the paper onto the bead. Okay, so now my paper bead is all stuck down. What I'm going to do is carefully take it off the end of the pencil, and I'll let this finish drying. What I'm going to do next is carry on making beads exactly the way we just did with some more strips of paper. So first I'll pop the piece of paper with the pattern facing outwards onto the pencil and tightly wrap this around the pencil until I get to the end. So I'll just do this quickly for you now. And I'll just push it all together to make sure it's nice and neat. And what I will do is take some glue, pop it on the white bit that isn't stuck down yet, and then put it onto the beads, and then pull it off gently and let my bead dry. Now I'm going to repeat this step with the rest of my strips of paper. Okay, so now I've finished making my beads and they're all dry. I also did some in some orange paper as well, and then here are the blue ones. So they're all ready to make things out of now. What I'm going to do first is make a nice key ring. So I have my key ring here, and what I'm going to do is get some embroidery thread and just get maybe about 15 centimeters. And if you'd like to do it precisely, you can use your ruler. So I've got some string here, and what I'm going to do is just double it over, just like this, and thread it through my key ring, and then thread the 2 ends through the loop. And now I can begin threading my paper beads onto the string. Okay, so I finished putting some paper beads onto my keyring, and now what I'm going to do is make it secure and tie a knot at the end. The easiest way for me to do this is to take one of my pony beads, just like this, and thread it through one of my pieces of string, and then tie it in a double knot with the other. Just like this. And there you go, you have a nice key ring. So what I'm going to do with the rest of my paper beads is I'm going to make a bracelet. So for that I will need 30 centimeters of embroidery thread. So I've just measured 30 centimeters here on my ruler, and I'll just cut at 0. There are many ways that you could create your bracelet. For example, you could actually take 60 centimeters of string and fold it over like this and tie a looped knot at the top, just like this, and you could thread your beads on that way and then tie it off again with a bead like we did with our keyring. Or you could take 30 centimeters of embroidery thread and a bead and thread it through the end and tie your bead onto your string. So this acts as a really strong knot. So I've tied my pony bead onto the end of my thread, and that means that nothing's going to fall off the end. What I'm going to do with my paper beads and my pony beads is I'm going to arrange my bracelet now and thread the beads on. So I've started threading my beads on, and as you can see, I've decided to go with a pattern. So I've put a white pony bead in between each paper beads. I'm going to carry on and fill my string. Okay, so I finished threading up my bracelet now with my paper beads and my pony beads, and what I'm going to do now is take one more pony bead, this time an orange one, and I'm going to tie it on the end of the string just like I did at the beginning. Okay, so here we go, my bracelet is finished. What we can do now with the end, so I've left some string at the end and that can now be tied onto my wrist. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed creating your paper beads today. This is what I've made. This is a necklace with some paper beads and pony beads as well. This is the keyring that we made, and this is another bracelet. You could also make a necklace with the same technique that we did to use this. You could even make a braid for your hair. There's so many options that you could do with your paper beads. I hope you've had fun today with this activity, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.